Tonight, while you sleep, something extraordinary is going to happen. Your brain is going to generate an entirely private world. Characters, places, emotions, stories, all of it constructed from nothing, experienced as completely real, and then dissolved the moment you open your eyes. You're going to dream. And here's what's strange. Every single human being on Earth does this. Every culture, every language, every civilization that has ever existed has had dreams. We've been dreaming for as long as we've been human, probably longer. But here's the question nobody thinks to ask. When a person in rural Japan closes their eyes tonight, and a shepherd in the mountains of Ethiopia closes theirs, and a teenager in Sao Paulo closes theirs, are they dreaming the same kinds of dreams? Is the experience of dreaming something universal? Something hardwired into what we are? Or is it shaped quietly, invisibly, by the culture, the language, the world you grew up inside? The answer, it turns out, is one of the most unsettling things sleep science has ever found. Let's start with what we actually know about why we dream. The honest answer is that science still doesn't fully agree. Dreams happen primarily during REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, the phase where your brain is almost as active as when you're awake. Your eyes flicker behind closed lids, your body is temporarily paralyzed, and your mind goes somewhere else entirely. The leading theory right now is called the threat simulation theory, proposed by Finnish neuroscientist Antti Revonsuo in 2000. His argument is straightforward and slightly unsettling. Dreams exist because they're a rehearsal. For hundreds of thousands of years, the humans who survived were the ones who were prepared. Prepared for predators, for conflict, for loss, and dreaming, running through dangerous scenarios in a safe space, gave the brain a way to practice, to stress test responses to threats without the consequences of actually facing them. Which is why, if you pay attention to your dreams, most of them aren't pleasant. Most of them involve being chased, being lost, being late, failing, falling. Your brain isn't tormenting you, it's training you. And here's where culture enters the picture. If dreams are a rehearsal for threats, then the threats you rehearse should depend on the world you live in. A child growing up in a densely populated city has different threats than a child growing up in a remote village. Different social hierarchies, different dangers, different things to lose, different things to fear. In 2003, a team of researchers led by psychologist Kelly Bulkley began one of the most ambitious cross-cultural dream studies ever attempted. They collected thousands of dream reports from people across dozens of countries: North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and began looking for patterns. Some things were universal. Across every culture studied, people dreamed about being chased, about falling, about the people they loved, about failure. These themes showed up regardless of language, religion, geography, or social structure, which makes sense under threat simulation theory. Being chased is dangerous everywhere. Falling is dangerous everywhere. Losing someone you love is devastating everywhere. But beyond those universals, the differences were striking. American dreamers, on average, reported significantly more aggressive interactions in their dreams than dreamers from most other cultures. More confrontation, more violence between strangers. Japanese dreamers reported significantly more misfortune, natural disasters, accidents, loss, but far less interpersonal aggression, more suffering that arrives from outside rather than from other people. People from societies with strong collective identities, where the group matters more than the individual, dreamed more frequently about community, about belonging, about being excluded from the group. The social threat wasn't violence, it was disconnection. People from more individualistic cultures dreamed more about personal failure, personal achievement, personal embarrassment, and people from cultures with a stronger spiritual framework, where the boundary between the living and the dead is thinner, more permeable, reported significantly more dreams involving deceased relatives, ancestors, and visitations. In many indigenous cultures across North America, Africa, and Australia, dreams aren't considered private neurological events at all. They're messages. Communications from ancestors or spirits that carry real information about the waking world. In these traditions, a dream isn't something that happens to you, it's something sent to you. The Iroquois people of North America built an entire system of dream interpretation into their social structure. Dreams were considered expressions of the soul's deepest desires, desires that had to be fulfilled in waking life or the soul would sicken. Community members were expected to help each other fulfill dream wishes. The boundary between the dream world and the real world was not a hard line, it was porous. And then there's lucid dreaming. A lucid dream is a dream in which you become aware that you're dreaming, and sometimes can control what happens. Researchers have confirmed this is a real neurological state, distinct from ordinary dreaming with measurable differences in brain activity. Here's what's fascinating. Lucid dreaming appears across virtually every culture in recorded history. Ancient Egyptians described it. Aristotle wrote about it in 350 BC. Tibetan Buddhist monks have practiced a form of it for over 1,000 years. They call it dream yoga, and they use it as a tool for spiritual development, training themselves to maintain consciousness through the dream state as practice for the moment of death. But whether lucid dreaming is common or rare, valued or dismissed, depends almost entirely on the culture around you. In most Western cultures, lucid dreaming is a curiosity, a parlor trick, something you read about on the internet and try once. In Tibetan Buddhism, it's a serious lifelong practice. Among the Senoi people of Malaysia, though this is debated by anthropologists, dream control was reportedly a community skill taught to children from an early age. The experience is available to all human brains, but whether you pursue it, whether you even have a word for it, whether it feels sacred or strange or irrelevant, that's entirely cultural. Here's where it gets really interesting. In 2014, a study published in the journal Sleep and Biological Rhythms examined dreamers across 6 countries and found something that reframed the whole question. They didn't just ask what people dreamed about, they asked what people believed dreams were for, and the belief, the cultural framework around what a dream means, directly shaped how people experienced them. People who believed dreams were meaningless neurological noise reported shorter, vaguer, less emotionally resonant dreams. People who believed dreams carried real messages from God, from ancestors, from their own unconscious, reported longer, more vivid, more emotionally significant ones. The researchers couldn't say whether the dreams themselves were actually different, but the experience of the dream, how it felt, how long it seemed, how much it mattered, was being filtered through the lens of what the dreamer had been taught to believe about dreaming, which raises an uncomfortable question. Are we even capable of experiencing our own dreams directly, or are we always experiencing them through the story our culture gave us about what dreams are supposed to be? And then there's the question of whether we're all dreaming less vividly than our ancestors did. Before artificial light, humans slept in 2 phases, first sleep and second sleep, with a period of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night. During that wakeful window, people lay in the dark and thought about their dreams while they were still fresh. They interpreted them, they shared them, they built meaning around them. Dreams were a communal event. Now, most people wake to an alarm, reach for a phone, and are inside the noise of the day before a single dream image has had time to surface. We're not dreaming less, but we're remembering less, processing less. The dreams are happening, the REM cycles are running, but we've built a world that gives them nowhere to land. Every culture that has ever existed has had rituals around dreams. Dream interpretation, dream sharing, dream incubation, the practice of sleeping in a sacred place specifically to receive a meaningful dream. The ancient Greeks built temples called Asclepions, where the sick would sleep and wait for healing dreams. The ancient Egyptians had professional dream interpreters embedded in their religious structures. We are almost certainly the first culture in human history to have decided that dreams don't matter. So do all cultures dream the same? The brain does the same things. The REM cycles run. The threat simulations fire. The faces of people you love appear. The falling happens. But what you make of it, what it means, what it's for, whether it's noise or message, whether it's yours or something sent to you, that's not biology. That's the world that made you. And maybe the most interesting thing about dreams isn't what happens when you close your eyes. It's what your culture taught you to do when you open them again.